Disney XD. While nowadays it's a graveyard of reruns of current/recently ended Disney cartoons with the occasional reruns of live-action shows, Marvel and Star Wars cartoons, and children's and mimes that aren't Crash and Bernstein.
Hello, darkness, my old friend.
There was a time when it produced original series, both live action and animated, and at one point it was the exclusive home for Disney's TV animation, not counting Disney Junior. Designed as a Disney Channel for boys in a time when the main channel had started aiming more towards a female demographic, most of Disney XD's original series incorporated action elements to appeal to a male demographic, or in the case of Crash and Bernstein, they just went all in on the boys' rule mentality. Don't worry, I still love you, but one of their best shows and probably their best sitcom was Lab Rats. If I told you there was a Disney sitcom about three bionic teens trying to balance saving the world with being regular teens, you'd probably think it sounds really stupid, right?
Wrong!
It's actually really good, with funny jokes, interesting stories, likable characters, and can occasionally be a little heartfelt. This video is a retrospective on the entire show where I'll be going through each season, so spoilers. Without further ado, let's start this Lab Rats retrospective off. Before I get into the show itself, I think I should go through some history. In May 2010, Disney XD greenlit a pilot called $1 Billion Freshman, created and executive produced by Chris Peterson, Brian Moore, and Mark Brazil, who had all previously worked on that 70s show. And directed by Mark Sandrowski, who worked on The Big Bang Theory. The plot was similar to the final show, revolving around bionic teens trying to fit in with normal society, but also differed in many ways. I found a lot of info, some of which I'm not sure is true, and I'd love to get in contact with the creators to see how much of it is accurate and if it's possible for the pilot to be released. But this isn't about the pilot, this is about the show. So all you need to know is that the pilot was filmed in summer 2010 and was eventually reworked into Lab Rats. Officially being picked up in July 2011, filming in September that same year, and premiering on February 27, 2012. Season 1 of Lab Rats is a pretty solid introduction to the series. I'm not a huge fan of the two-part pilot, Crush, Chop, and Burn, but for the most part it's a set of funny and entertaining stories that do a lot with the show's concept. Because it's on a Disney sitcom budget, it limits what they can do in terms of action and special effects, but I think they make the most of it. In terms of characters, Leo is the son of Tasha, stepson of Davenport, and friend of Adam, Bree, and Chase. He serves the role of the normal, non-bionic kid that the kids at home can relate to. He can be selfish and irresponsible and generally speaks his mind, but he always learns his lesson in the end, and it feels like he genuinely cares about Adam, Bree, and Chase, plus he's funny, and that's what really matters. Adam is the oldest of the Lab Rats, and has super strength but little intelligence. But for the most part, his blissfulness makes him a lovable moron, making it easier to laugh at him. Bree is the middle child of the Lab Rats. She has super speed and fills the role of the token girl character that the girls can relate to. She obsesses over boys, her phone, and tries to fit in with the popular girls at school. She's not bad, and it might just be because I'm a boy, but I personally never really liked her. Chase is the youngest of the Lab Rats and has super intelligence. Being super smart, he typically serves the role of the straight man, to Adam in particular, and I find him quite likable. He also has an alter ego named Spike, who's super confident, super aggressive, and super funny. Davenport is a billionaire inventor who in Season 1, as far as we know, created Adam, Bree, and Chase, and is Tasha's wife and Leo's stepdad. He is quite full of himself but really does care about his family, and is once again funny. Tashi is Leo's mom, Davenport's wife, and a TV reporter. She serves her role as a mom fine enough, scolding Leo and bonding with Bree in particular, being the only other girl in the house, but I've got a feeling the writers didn't really know what to do with her considering she appears less as the show goes on. Eddie is Davenport's annoying smart home system. I get that he's supposed to be annoying to the characters, but he's supposed to be funny to the audience, and I personally found him more annoying than funny. And then you have my favorite character, Principal Perry. She's the mean principal archetype cranked up to 11. The amount of joy she gets from tormenting kids is so over the top, it's hilarious. Also, I guess I should mention that she's played by the same woman who voiced Naruto in the English dub. Trent is the jock/bully archetype who's so over the top, he's funny. Chanel is Leo's love interest who sometimes seems to return his affections, but most of the time it doesn't seem mutual. Wait a minute, is that Sophie from Cory in the House?
Cory in the house! Yeah! It's a party every week, baby!
Caitlin is Bree's best friend who only appears in 2 episodes this season and isn't really fleshed out at all. I also feel like I should mention Stephanie, who similarly to Trent is a high school archetype who's just over the top enough to be funny. In her case, she's the bratty popular girl archetype. She only appears in 2 episodes total, both from this season, but I felt like I had to mention her just because she's played by Ona Gregory, who played Amanda on Crash and Bernstein. What's up with all these inline actors? I guess she just had a knack for playing bratty popular girls on Disney XD sitcoms. So yeah, that's a pretty solid cast. In episode 18, Concert in Aiken, keep in mind, I watched the episodes in production order. They introduce Marcus, a mysterious new kid who befriends the heroes, but is actually evil, which Leo finds out about, but nobody believes him. This is later followed up on in the season finale, Mission Space, where he installs a hidden spy camera in Davenport's lab, and it's revealed that he's working for a mysterious figure. It's also revealed that Adam, Bree, and Chase have hidden abilities that Davenport doesn't know about, leaving the season on quite the cliffhanger, and the start of the show getting more serialized. Admittedly, Concert in Aiken ended up being my least favorite episode of the season though. It's not bad, it has its moments. I'm just not a big fan of the whole plot archetype of character is secretly evil and one of the characters finds out and tries to tell the other characters, but nobody believes him and it's hard for me to take Marcus seriously when he's constantly making this stupid face. My favorite episode ended up being episode 13, Mission Invisible, where Adam, Bree, and Chase's bionics have been caught on film by Principal Perry's surveillance cameras, and they have to stop her from showing it to Davenport and Tashi on a parent-teacher night. It's just a really funny and entertaining misunderstanding plot that prominently features Principal Perry, which is always a plus. Needless to say, Season 1 of Lab Rats is a great season that left me excited to see where the show goes from here. Season 2 of Lab Rats is pretty on par with 1. There's a bit more emphasis on action, which in my opinion is a downgrade, because like I said earlier, it's the weakest aspect of the show. They also cranked up Adam picking on Chase with way more short jokes, which got really annoying. But overall, it's a pretty solid continuation of Season 1. But wait a minute, how does it continue the overarching story set up at the end of that season? Well, in episode 3, Speed Trapped, which takes place directly after the Season 1 finale, Mission Space, the Lab Rats sneak out to a party in Davenport's self-driving car. Marcus is at the party, and he programs the car to go to the bottom of the Pacific Ocean, with Leo in it. Though he doesn't consider that Adam, Bree, and Chase will try to save him, which they do, still completely ignorant to Marcus's evilness. You'd think they'd be a bit more curious as to how it happened in the first place, but I guess they just figured that Leo was messing with it. At the end of the episode, Leo finds out that Marcus is bionic, but if he tells anyone, Marcus will reveal Adam, Bree, and Chase's secret. In the next episode, Bro Down, they discover Bree's hidden ability, vocal manipulation, which lets her imitate people's voices. Then 7 episodes later, in Leo vs. Evil, Leo follows Marcus to his house and discovers a secret lair, trying to get photographic evidence that Marcus is evil and wants Adam, Bree, and Chase, which he gets but is captured by Marcus, who tries to kill him with his robot, but luckily he's able to escape by outwitting him. He rushes home, ready to show them the proof, but he drops it into the teleporter from the episode's B-plot, destroying it. He leads them to Marcus's house, which appears to be normal, so they just write him off as crazy. Wow, what jerks. You think they'd be a bit more inclined to believe him after it turned out he was right about Marcus destroying the guitar in concert in a can, but nope. Yeah, if you couldn't tell, I'm not a big fan of the Marcus stuff, but we do finally get to see who Marcus's father is, though we're still not sure who he is, and he tells Marcus that he's failed him and that he'll go after Adam, Bree, and Chase himself, which he does in the double-length episode Bionic Showdown, where Marcus and his dad capture Davenport so Adam, Bree, and Chase will come to rescue him, letting them capture them, which they do, and it's revealed that Marcus's dad is actually Davenport's brother, Douglas Davenport, the co-founder of Davenport Industries, and Adam, Bree, and Chase's true creator, who planned on using them as bionic super soldiers, selling them to warlords and dictators, before Davenport found out and took them from him, raising them to be bionic heroes. He also faked his death. This reveal was actually foreshadowed in Season 1.
They are, my brother's kids, that I adopted when he died, fell in a volcano.
With help from Leo, they escape and defeat Douglas and Marcus, who is actually a robot and dies, and they also find out Adam's hidden ability, Blast Wave, concluding the Marcus arc, still with half a season left. As for my opinions on Bionic Showdown, it has some good drama and emotional beats, but is still quite jokey, and again, being a Disney sitcom, is extremely limited in terms of action and special effects. I still liked it, don't get me wrong, but it could have been better. It also really shows how underused Tashi is when in this episode her husband is kidnapped and her son is presumed dead at one point, yet she doesn't show up once, only being mentioned in passing. I'm not sure what she would have done if she were in the episode, but her absence still feels weird. Douglas shows up in the very next episode, Avalanche, where he saves Chase from an avalanche and offers to give him all of Adam and Bree's abilities, but ends up being frozen in a block of ice, seemingly putting an end to him for good. As for characters, they've mostly stayed the same, though like I said earlier, Adam picks on Chase way more, which got really annoying. They kind of resolve this in episode 24, My Little Brother, but not really. We get more development for Bree's best friend, Caitlin, this season, and we find out that she's a weird girl who can also be kind of a jerk. In Robot Fight Club, we find out that she has a crush on Adam, but then at the end it gets replaced with a crush on Chase. There's a new addition in Owen, Bree's crush, who's also an artist. Similar to Stephanie from Season 1, he only appears in this season, and only in 3 episodes, which is a shame, because I actually liked him quite a bit. Chase's alter ego, Spike, makes his grand return in episode 8, Spike's Got Talent, and with him, his rivalry with Principal Perry, this time escalating into a wrestling match. Pair that with the subplot where Adam bonds with Bree's crush, Owen, and you get one of my favorites from the season. Grandma Dooley also returns in episode 22, Prank You Very Much, and she's just as funny as before.
I look forward to getting to know you too, Mrs. Sorry, what should I call you?
Let's start with ma'am and just leave it there.
Other notable episodes include episode 2, Missing the Mission, where Leo officially gets to be part of the team, becoming the strategic mission specialist. Episode 7, Parallel Universe, which is probably my favorite episode of the season due to the sheer humor and creativity that comes from its concept. As for my least favorite, I already talked about my problems with Speed Trapped, Leo vs. Evil, and Bionic Showdown, but overall, I still think those are good episodes, just flawed. That leaves us with a couple mediocre episodes, and ultimately, I choose episode 15, Perry 2.0. Yeah, with a title like that, you'd think it'd be one of my favorite episodes this season, and while the main plot of Davenport creating a robotic version of Perry is decent, it gets held back by its subplot, where Adam and Bree think that the Irish foreign exchange student, Alistair, is another robot, like Marcus, sent to spy on them, in a really stupid misunderstanding plot. Seriously, I understand Adam being this stupid, but really Bree. And all it amounts to is them tormenting the poor guy who did nothing wrong. Episode 21, 'Twas the Mission Before Christmas, is a Christmas special, though the main plot really doesn't have anything to do with Christmas besides taking place in a cold setting on Christmas Eve. There's not even that much of a ticking clock for the lab rats to finish their mission before Christmas. In fact, they don't finish it before Christmas. The subplot is a bit more festive, with Principal Perry staying over for Christmas and the miracle of her actually doing something nice by making Christmas dinner for them, even if she makes them pay for it. In episode 25, Trent gets schooled. Leo and Chase help Trent finally graduate, but he ends up just becoming their gym teacher. In the season finale, no going back, everything changes. Principal Perry finds out about Adam, Bree, and Chase's bionics. They run away. We find out that Douglas has been imprisoned by a mysterious masked bionic man, has forged Davenport's signature, causing him to lose his house and all his money, and blows up the lab. And you thought season 1 ended on a cliffhanger. So yeah, while I do think season 2 was a slight downgrade from 1, it definitely left me wanting to see what happens next. Season 3 was one heck of a roller coaster in terms of quality. The episodes range from really good, some of the best of the entire show, to just average. The season premiere, Sink or Swim, is not only my favorite episode of the season, but one of my favorites of the series, purely for its story, drama, and emotional beats. It's still a little jokey, but not to the point where it feels intrusive, with the exception of Adam, who's now flanderized to the point where pretty much every other line he has is insulting Chase, which is really annoying. Even if you found it funny, I imagine it would probably get old after the first 1,000 times. The reason I laughed at Adam's stupidity in seasons 1 and 2 wasn't so much how his jokes were written, but how he was written. Because I liked him as a character, I was able to laugh at his jokes. But here, he's gone from a lovable moron with a heart of gold to an obnoxious, douchey moron who you just wanna punch in the face. Come on guys, you had the chance to resolve this in My Little Brother. In fact, this season has another episode that seems like it should have resolved it, called Brother Battle. But no, it has to be another fake out because it's just so damn funny. He still makes me laugh with the occasional non sequitur, but overall, I really did not like Adam in this season. Which is a shame because he used to be one of my favorite characters. But besides Adam, Sink or Swim is really good. It also reveals the mysterious masked bionic man that unfroze Douglas. Victor Crane, Douglas' partner, who at the end takes over, wanting to kill Adam, Bree, and Chase, something that wasn't part of Douglas's plan. And Adam discovers another new ability: underwater breathing. The Davenports were able to get their house back, so Adam, Bree, and Chase return home, but now they have no money. But they are able to get it back in the next episode, The Jetwing, by having people pay to see Davenport fly a fiberglass jetwing, and they use the money to build a new lab, and I guess also to give Principal Perry her hush money, so she'll keep Adam, Bree, and Chase's bionic secret, and that's it. Them earning their money back is entirely condensed into one episode. Kind of weird since that could have spanned across the whole season, but with all the other plot threads I guess it would have gotten cluttered. In episode 8, Taken, which is another one of my favorites of the season, Douglas tries to warn the Davenports about Crane, but Davenport doesn't believe him. He's able to convince Leo, but Crane captures Leo and Tasha. Davenport tries to rescue them, but he's defeated by Crane, who then teleports to the lab to fight Adam, Bree, and Chase, and he wins while Davenport is eventually able to rescue Leo and Tasha. Before Crane can finish Adam, Bree, and Chase off, Douglas swoops in and saves them, hinting that he has a good side, but before he can kill Crane, Leo, Davenport, and Tasha arrive, distracting him and allowing Crane to escape. Davenport, still not trusting Douglas, forces him to leave. Then in the next episode, 3-Bree, Bree gets rid of her bionics but quickly regrets it, leading into the next episode, which Father Knows Best. Another one of my favorites, where Davenport tries to fix Bree's chip but fails, leading Leo to get the help of Douglas, who tries to replicate her chip but again fails. Eventually he and Davenport are able to work together and fix her chip, but he still kicks him out. Eventually he decides to give him a second chance and let him move in with them, meaning he's officially a good guy now. This feels a little forced, but I still really like this episode cause it's a good, entertaining story and I like Davenport and Douglas working together. And Douglas ends up being pretty likable, acting as sort of a second father to the kids. 2 episodes later, in You Posted What? A girl catches Adam, Bree, and Chase on film and posts it online, meaning now the whole world knows their bionic secret, leading to government agents, led by Agent Graham, another throwaway character, to come in and try to take them away, seeing them as weapons. It turns out the girl filming them was S1 Crane's bionic partner that he genetically engineered and is controlling via the Triton app. They attack Leo, Principal Perry, and Douglas, leading Leo's arm to get crushed by a ceiling beam, which Douglas heals by making his arm bionic. Yeah, I'm not sure how I feel about this. While it does kind of get rid of Leo's role of being the normal, non-bionic kid, they do at least justify it in universe by having the hospital say that Leo will never be able to use that arm again. It also means that now Leo's the one who has to keep a secret. Eventually they are able to convince the government agents that Adam, Bree, and Chase are heroes, and Crane and S1 are put in prison. And the world comes to accept that they are bionic. But now Agent Graham is in charge, not Davenport, and it's revealed that Crane now has an army of bionic soldiers. In Armed and Dangerous, Chanel finds out about Leo's bionic arm, and Agent Graham learns that Davenport should be the mission leader. Then 3 episodes later, there's another 2-parter called Rise of the Secret Soldiers, where Adam, Bree, and Chase want people to see their real lives, so Leo arranges for there to be a live reality show about them. The film crew films one of their missions live, where their arguing causes them to fail, leading to a national power outage and them losing the trust of the public. This causes Adam, Bree, and Chase to argue, eventually deciding to get rid of the team. Also, now everyone knows that Leo's bionic. They are forced to work together again when Crane plans to use the Triton app to control everyone in the world. Leo becomes an official member of the team, besides just mission specialist, getting an energy transference upgrade to his bionic arm, meaning he can absorb and give off energy. They fight Crane and his bionic army in his junkyard hideout, where he plans to use a stolen satellite to globally transmit the Triton app signal. Eventually Adam, Bree, and Chase are able to fuse their abilities to stop Crane and free his soldiers. But they find out that Davenport is severely injured, and even after surgery, he's still in bad condition. And even when their father might die, Adam is still making jokes at Chase's expense.
Don't blame yourself, Douglas. Blame Chase.
Seriously, what a douchebag. But there's still a bunch of bionic kids with nowhere to go. Well, in the next episode, Bionic House Party, Leo is able to save Davenport by transferring some of his energy, but this causes him to age rapidly. Luckily, Crane's bionic army is able to save him by transferring some of their energy. So Davenport decides to have Adam, Bree, and Chase train the soldiers to become bionic heroes at Davenport Bionic Academy on an island, which is where the last 3 episodes of Season 3 and the entirety of Season 4 take place, meaning no more Tasha, Eddie, Trent, Janelle, or Caitlin. But hey, Principal Perry's still here cause she retired from being principal because it just wasn't fun without having the Davenports to torment, and becomes head of security at Davenport Bionic Academy. Good to see they managed to keep my favorite character a part of the show. I guess this brings us to the characters. I've already talked about Adam and Douglas, but there's other characters I want to highlight. Leo starts to take an interest in inventing and scramble the orbs, but both his inventions fail, and it's a trait that's abandoned after 3 Bree, only 2 episodes later. I guess I should also mention that in this season you can tell that Leo's actor was going through some changes. His voice has noticeably matured.
We get it! You got married! It's getting old! Well.
And he's way taller, at this point taller than Bree and Tasha, which kind of gets rid of some of the charm of him being this goofy little kid, but isn't the worst thing ever. Eddie only appears in 3 episodes this season, which is good news for me, I guess. Principal Perry is still here and continues to be the best part of the show, though her role starts to shift. As we see less of the school and less of her actually being the principal, she becomes less of an antagonist and more of an anti-hero, feeling more like a weird neighbor or relative, which I guess is made official by her retiring from being principal and becoming head of security at the academy. Caitlin's annoying side is cranked up to 11 in this season, though thankfully she only appears in 3 episodes. We've also got some new characters. In episode 5, Zip It, Bree, Chase, and Caitlin get a job at the electronics store Tech Town, which appears in several episodes this season, though Caitlin gets fired, and judging by what happens at the end of the season, it's safe to say Bree and Chase quit. I guess it's true that the more things change, the more they stay the same. With this new location comes a new character named Scott, Tech Town's manager, and Bree, Chase, and Caitlin's annoying boss. He can be funny, but I mostly just found him annoying. And again, what's annoying to the characters shouldn't be annoying to the audience. I also got Helen from Drake and Josh vibes with how he loves Chase but hates Bree, like how Helen loved Drake but hated Josh. Like Stephanie and Owen, he's another one of those one-season characters, but unlike those characters, it actually makes sense. We also meet the President of the United States, who sadly isn't Obama.
Hello, darkness, my old friend.
We also get to meet a few of the bionic soldiers towards the end of the season. There's S3/Sebastian. In episode 24, First Day at Bionic Academy, he has a rivalry with Chase and a crush on Bree, but in an authorized mission, him and Chase become friends. But when Chase tells him what happened to his father Crane, he secretly swears vengeance on Davenport. Ooh. Cliffhanger. There's Spin, Leo's rival, who seems to have made up with him in an authorized mission. And then there's Bob, he's an idiot who befriends Adam. In episode 12, Brother Battle, Douglas gives Adam, Bree, and Chase new abilities. Adam gets pressurized lung capacity, Bree gets invisibility, and Chase gets lasered bow. If you wanna know my least favorite episode of the season, it would be episode 19, Spike Fright, which is the first episode I'd consider straight up bad. And it's a Spike episode. How do you screw that up? I'll tell you how. Adam. This episode is Adam at his worst. In it, Chase finds a girl that actually likes him, and Adam apparently cannot stand the idea that a girl would like Chase but not him, so he ruins Chase's date by making him so nervous that it activates Spike, scaring the girl off. Yeah, he apologizes for it and makes up for it off screen, but sometimes just having a character learn their lesson doesn't make their actions not annoying. And the subplot with Leo, Bree, and Davenport thinking that Perry killed one of the lunch ladies is kind of funny but also pretty stupid and predictable. Obviously, she didn't actually kill the lunch lady. It's obviously some sort of misunderstanding. A close second would be episode 9, 3 Brie. It's not bad, it's just very melodramatic and not fun to watch. It feels like a generic dumb teenage girl disobs their father but quickly regrets its story. Episode 20, Merry Glitchmas, is another Christmas special. The main plot is pretty average like a lot of episodes this season, but the subplot is pretty funny, seeing the return of Grandma Dooley and having a pretty sweet moment where Leo defends Davenport. While the first 2 seasons left me excited for what was to come, season 3 had me crossing my fingers that the next season would be better. It's worse if season 3 was a mixed bag, then I'd say season 4 is painfully average. With only a few good episodes, and a ton of mediocre ones, with a few bad ones for good measure. Which honestly pisses me off more than if it had been really bad, cause then at least it would be interesting. Like season 3, season 4 peaks at the very beginning with the hour-long premiere, Bionic Rebellion, which like Sink or Swim, is my favorite purely for its story, drama, and emotional beats. It sees Sebastian forming a rebellion against Davenport and the lab rats trying to avenge Crane, pinning all the soldiers against them. Though luckily Leo is able to convince Spin and Bob to help him, causing Sebastian and his lackeys to be defeated and sent to jail, no longer being bionic. I find it odd that there wasn't any drama between Brie and Sebastian, considering they seemed to have mutual affection for each other. Instead, the drama is primarily between Chase and Sebastian, which makes sense since they were good friends. I just find it odd that Brie and Sebastian's mutual affection wasn't even mentioned, but it doesn't really hinder my enjoyment of the episode. Season 4 is a lot more episodic than Season 3, with just a few small changes to the status quo like Leo getting a capsule for his arm in Under Siege, a capsule which is never seen again. The overarching story doesn't really kick in until Bionic Action Hero, where the lab rats find out that a film director named Giselle Douglas's ex-girlfriend is making a movie about them, starring up-and-coming actor Troy West. But it turns out that Troy is actually a robot made by Giselle, who is actually evil and wants to destroy all bionic superhumans because she got jealous when they overshadowed her androids. If that motivation sounds incredibly stupid to you and like they ran out of ideas, that's cause it is. But the worst thing about it is that this is our endgame villain. Not Sebastian, not Crane, not even Marcus, but her. I was very tempted to write this episode off as bad not just for its villain, but also because it has the moment that officially broke me.
Wait. You make movies, build robots, and you can fight? Look, I know I'm supposed to hate you, but can I just say, you go, girl.
I hate all of you.
This is the moment when I fully realized how much the show had fallen from grace and was officially done with the constant mediocrity. But thankfully everything comes together in the climax, and the end reveal where we find out that Giselle is gonna rebuild Marcus admittedly got me excited. This gets followed up in the series finale, The Vanishing, which I'll go into detail about later. In terms of characters, like I said, in Under Siege, Leo gets an arm capsule that is never seen again. He also gets a bionic leg in Space Elevator and becomes a mentor in On the Edge, which makes sense since I always thought it was weird that he was still a student yet allowed to go on missions with Adam, Breen, and Chase. Adam is still annoying, and I find it really frustrating that by the end of the series, he's still the same stupid jerk. Sure, Space Colony kind of gives him a character arc, but once again, it's ruined by a stupid joke. Guys, this is the penultimate episode of the series. You don't have to stick to the status quo. Eddie gets his send-off episode in the form of Human Eddie, where Davenport gives Eddie a human body and makes him nice, so he can be Principal Perry's partner. But Principal Perry doesn't like the new Eddie and reverts him back to his original personality. Eventually Davenport finds out and puts him back on the wall. I guess this was a nice send-off to Eddie, but I think it could be better. I'm honestly confused as to why he wasn't in the finale, but whatever. If there's one thing that stays consistent throughout the show, it's Principal Perry. She is consistently the best character. Trent doesn't appear in this season, meaning he doesn't get a send-off. And neither does Chanel, only being mentioned in one episode. But hey, Caitlin gets a send-off episode. Yay. Crane returns in Space Colony, which is a pretty good episode. He teams up with Dr. Gao, a character who's introduced and only appears in this episode. Wouldn't it be more interesting if he teamed up with Sebastian? But whatever, it's still a good story. S1 returns in One of Us, and with her Triton app being deactivated becomes a good guy, and is renamed Taylor, forming the friendship with Leo. It's pretty sweet. In On the Edge, Leo accidentally blinds her, and feeling guilty for what he's done, quits the academy, but he comes back to save the Davenports, and as I said earlier is promoted to mentor. I really like this episode. I think it's a really good character arc for Leo, though S1 also doesn't appear in the finale. Spin weirdly only shows up in 3 episodes early on this season, before disappearing from existence. But Bob's still here and he's really annoying. Did we really need 2 Adams? Spike once again returns in Spike vs. Spiket, where we actually meet a female Spike, and this time he redeems himself, being one of the funnier episodes this season, though there is some awkward humor with Spiket treating Chase like a baby. Perry's knees carry from the season 2 episode. Adam Up actually returns in the episode Under Siege, which is one of the best of the season, not really because of her, but because it's funny and has a good mystery. Though disappointingly there is no Grandma Dooley episode this season. Other notable episodes include my least favorite, Simulation Manipulation. Chase is really annoying here. There's also Spider Island and Then There Were 4, which are just boring and stupid, though And Then There Were 4 is notable because it's the episode where we find out that Douglas has another bionic kid named Daniel. And I want to highlight this joke from Spider Island that completely fails and shows my problems with Adam's character in these latter 2 seasons. So, the setup is that Adam is deathly ill, like actually deathly ill. He got poisoned by a venomous spider. He asks Chase to come over and tells him that he needs to tell him something, and it's really dramatic, but then Adam makes a joke at Chase's expense. You see, my problem isn't even that it's mean-spirited or whatever, it's that you see the joke coming from a mile away. The moment that Adam tells Chase that he has something to say and it's super dramatic, you know that he's gonna say something stupid or at Chase's expense, and he does. Honestly, it would have been funnier if they actually subverted my expectations and Adam did say something incredibly stupid. This is my problem with Adam's character. It's not just that he's incredibly unlikable and annoying, it's that his jokes have become so tired and predictable. In Bionic Dog, Leo falls in love with his smartphone assistant, which I'm only mentioning because it reminds me of how everyone was simping over that Samsung girl. There was a crossover with fellow action-oriented Disney XD sitcom Mighty Med in the hour-long special Lab Rats vs. Mighty Med, which I can only assume was titled that for marketing purposes because the VS is actually a very small part of the episode. It was okay. I'm not very familiar with Mighty Med, though I did prefer the Lab Rats half over the Mighty Med half, which could indicate my feelings on Mighty Med as a whole, though it could just be because I didn't like this season of Lab Rats, so who knows. I do know that Brie gets a crush on that annoying kid from A&E Farm. No, I'm not gonna look up his name in Mighty Med, I just know that her crush is really awkward, especially when she says that he reminds her of Chase.
Yes! Chase! You remind me of Chase! You remind me of Chase. Ew!
This causes her to lose the crush, but still, it feels a little incest. In the series finale, The Vanishing, Giselle kidnaps all the bionic soldiers so she can kill them, with help from Marcus, who wants revenge on Douglas and the lab rats, but they are able to defeat them. And at the end, we find out that Tasha is pregnant and that the upgrade to the bionic students means they no longer need the academy. So now they'll be split into teams, which includes the lab rats. Adam and Leo decide to oversee the transition at the academy while Bree and Chase decide to take on a new mission, leading to a heartfelt goodbye. Like I said, there are several recurring characters that don't get a send-off. Having Giselle as our endgame villain is really stupid, and I would have kind of liked to see some sort of redemption for Marcus. Douglas says he's gonna rebuild Marcus but reprogram him to be good, but for whatever reason, everyone turns him down. Overall, though, it's okay. It's a little emotional but not incredibly so, but at least Perry gets a well-deserved send-off, actually being concerned for the lab rats, showing that she does have a heart. So yeah, I didn't like season 4, but at least the show ended here before it could get really bad, though I can't help but feel like that ending was setting up something else. No. So, I was gonna talk about Elite Force, but this video is already long enough and honestly I don't have the energy to, so sorry about that. Overall, Lab Rats was a pretty solid show, even if it definitely went downhill. It's funny, has likable characters, and actually pulled off serialization decently well. Even the latter 2 seasons still have some really good episodes. It's definitely miles better than most Disney kidcoms and most kidcoms in general, and I think it deserves a lot more recognition. Well, that was incredibly long. Sorry, this took so long to get out. This video was absolutely exhausting to make. After this I'll probably work on some shorter videos. As always, I'm the cartoon Koala and see you in the next video.